You hear the birds chirping? That was Vietnam. When I was there for a business meeting, this was the view. And I could say that on the breakfast restaurant, the whole restaurant smelled amazing. And the smell was of pho. Pho, that's right. We're gonna make pho today. So let's go make it. So I got my pot ready. It's a 6-liter pot, and I'm going to add about 2 kgs of beef oxtail, right? And then we also have some short ribs. So we're gonna add that. And as I've told you, that the oxtails are basically grass-fed, right? And the short ribs are grain-fed because we want a bit more fat on the short ribs. And the ox fats will basically, the oxtail basically is full of fat, gluten, gelatin. I mean, the oxtail is the main star of the show. So once we add it, what we're going to do is we're going to blanch them for about 3 minutes so that all the impurities that stuck on the meat, right? Let's say bone grains or something like that, all of those will disappear. So let's add water, and with my snap of finger, it will be added. So as you can see, the water has magically appeared into the pot. Well, yeah. And so if you notice that I've placed the water way above the meat level, right? So the meat is right here, right? It's about 2 knuckles. So why did I do that? Because when the pure impurities will rise, the gunky stuff and all that will rise, I do not want it to be stuck with the meat, so that I can just take them and discard them off, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna let it come up to a boil for about 2 to 3 minutes, and let's not hope it gets too murky and disgusting. Okay, now so you can see that it's all disgusting and gunky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop this out, right? So just going to scoop all of this out, and we're going to clear that, the whole pot. And once you do this, and that's how you get a very clear broth, right? So don't worry about it, just clear the whole thing out. And sometimes I have seen people just discard the whole water, right? And they start on a new pot. But then you have to realize that you're losing all of this amazing oil that is being released. You can see all of this oil that's being released. You're gonna just lose all of that, right? So just take your time, clear it out. And you put effort into your food, you give it a bit of soul, and it's going to taste that much more hearty. So once I clean it, we will add in all the spices, right? And I'll go through that with you. So as you can see that I have cleaned it very well, right? So all of that glistening you see is the fat, and I've also added back the water that I've skimmed off, right? So what will happen is that as the cooking process goes on, right, we will have to add back the water all over again, and also skim and add back the water. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add the spices in for the cook, and so this is where it starts. So as you can see that we have onion, 1 white onion, and then a garlic, a big bad garlic, and a ginger on the flame directly. So what we want to do is we just want to increase the heat to medium, right? So let's bring it down. We want to increase the heat to medium, and what we want is to just char the outsides of them, right? So what we're going to do is we just char the outside, and we're going to cut it into half, clean the outsides once it's done, and what you'll be left with is the creamy, amazing, a bit smoky spices left, right? So we'll add this to when the beef stock is ready and skimmed. You can hear the crackling and all the fires going on. Amazing. Fire is on low and the wind is blowing outside, and I have my spices with me that I've charred before. So as you can see, we have the garlic that's just roasted soft, the ginger that's cooked all the way, then the onion, the white onion that's almost cooked, I would say. Yep. So what happens is that, and also some Star Anise, some clove, a black cardamom pod, a Bengali cardamom pod, And then what you have is this what's that called? This cinnamon, right? So with all of these, what happens is that when you char this, it gives a nice smoky taste, and then it takes out the harsh flavor, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of these in one of these, right? And then I'm just going to dunk it inside. So if you have a cheesecloth, that's also fine. You can use that, right? So you just put all the spices in there first so that they don't float out. So I'll go in with my cinnamon. There we go. And then the Star Anise. The cloves. I don't think it matters on which order you put the spices in, you just chuck everything inside. And then after that, to cover them, well, you want to go with this, not the onions, they are dense. You go with the garlic because they start floating up, right? So this is from experience. You go in with the garlic first, close the cap, and after that you go in with the onions, right? Once you have the onions in there, like a bird chirping outside. It's a full forest situation now. And you put the smaller garlics in and pack all of those down, right? And nuzzle that in there. You want it to be soaking inside, so just make your way in. Okay, and that's all. So now we want to cook this for about almost 2 hours. But you know, if you really want it done well, then you can cook it overnight. So you see what I was mentioning, the spices will come out. It's okay, you can later scoop them out, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cook this in lowest heat possible, and I'm gonna cook it for almost 6 hours right after this. So let's meet you for tomorrow, I guess. All right. Oh, it smells amazing, my whole kitchen, and it does smell like the Star Anise, the cinnamon, the garlic, the onion. Okay, how do I explain the scent of pho, right? The best way to explain it is that it's a soft good morning, right? Someone telling you good morning, and that's just it, you know? It smells amazing. So I've just taken out all the spices and put it on one side, and as you can see that the meat is basically falling off the bones. Some of them already did fall off the bones. And just give it a quick mix, and you see. So this has been going on for another 5 hours, so I don't think it needs that extra 1 hour. You can see the broth is just golden and beautiful, alright? So I'll just do a taste test and then add the salt that's required, because I'm pretty sure you've noticed we haven't added any salt. So we're just going to add a bit of salt to it, to the taste, and then after that we're just going to plate it and add the noodles. So we'll be ready. So we're just going to add salt to it, right? And maybe a little bit more. So that's around 1 tablespoon of salt in there. If you want more, you can always go for more. It's up to taste. And after that, we're going to add in a special ingredient, right? Sugar. So 1 tablespoon of sugar, you just put it in. Maybe I'll go a bit more. Yep. Since I'm going to add chili later on to the pho noodles itself. So I guess the prep is done. All is done. And now it's time for plating. Okay, now, so I have the bowl ready, and I have all the condiments ready that's going to go with the noodles. So I have some rice noodles over here. I'm just going to put them in the middle, right? And then we're going to do the plating one by one. So let's first go with all the beef. So you take the beef and you put it on the corner. There you go. Make it look pretty. Right. Let's put this fat over here. There you go. And end it with another fat. Then after that, what we have is very thinly sliced beef. So this is raw beef, but you can see that it's so light that you can see the fingers through it, right? There you go. So we're just gonna ribbon it like this, right? And when we ladle the broth over it, it's going to cook instantly. So let's just put one more right there. There you go. And then the next thing you want to put inside is the white onions. So thinly sliced white onions right on the other corner. I just like onions a lot, so I'm just going to put them all in. And then what you have is coriander. Just put over the onion so that the flavor can seep in. So that's all it is, right? Pho is a very technical dish. Technical as in flavor, because it's so simple that you have nothing to hide behind, right? So then the last condiment that will go over is the spring onion, or let's say the onion grass. There you go. And last but not least, a lime. So just squeeze it in. I have the soup furiously boiling now, so I'm just going to take a ladle. Look at the golden broth, yeah? And then slowly just pour it over, and you can see the beef changing color, right? So now the job is just to cook the beef and ladle over all the rest of it. Oh, excuse me, I got caught in the emotion, so I started smelling the pho broth, right? So it's quite amazing. The more you have, only the more you want it. So I'm just gonna put it all the way to the top, and probably have a hard time carrying it to the table. Yep. So a bit more. Perfect. Right. So I'm just gonna put it there, and my dear friends, the pho is ready.